Having just watched Trent Michaels' video, let me put this like this first before I get into the topic. Trent, you have my respect. You're the only other individual aside from myself who goes out of his way to blast these pigs full of, to bust, pump these pigs full of lead. And granted, you're on a higher caliber than I could ever be, and I'll admit that. That being said, let's get into the meat and potatoes of what he said. The Uber bitch duo basically were at it again with their podcast. They laughed about Vic, talked, retwisted their stories again, and basically blasted Stan. Stan Dolan over on Twitter basically retorted by saying to Jamie, "Bitch, you've only been at my con one time. This is a Zoomy con out in Oklahoma." Let me just double check where in Oklahoma that con is. ZumiCon is in Midwest City, Oklahoma. Anyway. And stating that you're the one who forced me into the spotlight. I never saw what you claimed. Saw Vic do what you claimed he did to you. So your point is moot. And they basically went off on it. Basically, what you see, what you hear is what you get. This is stuff that's become too commonplace with this duo of uberbitchens or super bitches in German. So basically, me going off the handle with these two, dead horse issue. It's a dead horse issue at this point. Also, we do have confirmation Vic may be heading to Europe. He is heading to Europe, and you already watched my prayer video last Wednesday. Anyone who caught my prayer video last Wednesday for Vic would know he's heading to Moldova to help out Ukrainian refugees. And anyone in Funimation, Crunchyroll, Sentai, or Rooster Teeth going to Ukraine to help out? Nope. Because they're petty, selfish pieces of garbage. Now keep in mind, I've already made my point a while back about my opinion as to what's going on in Ukraine. I don't agree with what Putin's doing, but I understand what he's doing. And why he's doing what he's doing. I've made that abundantly clear. That said, Vic, Godspeed. Sorry I'm not going to be in the stream tomorrow. I've got a Hornet game to catch. And I hope I'll catch you next week if you get out of there, if you get out of Moldova alive. Should you be able to get out of Moldova alive. And especially if you're not there for longer than a week. Anyway, back to the other part of the problem. Daman Mills and the writer of and the chief editor at ANN. Apparently, she sat on this issue, on this article, for 5 months. And now she's being strong-armed by Funny to take the article down or risk getting defamation. I say keep it up. But knowing this bitch, she's not going to. And now to Daman. Really? You try using a victim complex to justify strong-arming or threatening Duncan into bringing down his claims? You're sick. And to be fair, I've done pretty much the same thing, but you know what the difference is between you and I, Daman? I at least have a somewhat legitimate excuse in the fact that I'm an autistic 34-year-old man who still lives with his mother. No joke. And I have used my autism at times as an excuse to get what I want. These days, I try to refrain from playing the autism card I go out of my way to refrain playing the autism card at any and all costs, wherever and whenever I can. Because I don't want to use that card to get specialized treatment. You, on the other hand, are more than willing to use your abusive childhood as an excuse to justify constantly being a fucking homosexual pedophile. Mills. That's the difference between you and me, Damon. I've at least learned from my mistakes and tried my damnedest not to play the card that would get me special treatment. You will play it until it's worn out. I only save it for at worst to use as an absolute last resort. And at best, I at least have the brains not to use it at all, even if it comes to my detriment. That's the difference between you and I, Damon. I mean, being an autistic individual, I by nature do come off as an inadvertently overly condescendious, egotistical, head in my clouds, stick up my ass, son of a bitch. And I'm willing to admit that about myself. That's how I come off to other people if I don't play the card. And I usually choose not to play that card. And yes, I'm overly competitive and a bit of a sore loser when push comes to shove. But do you see me play that card and play the autism card in most shops I go into? No, I don't play it. Because I know the negative effects of playing it. Unlike you, who uses his traumatized childhood to justify being a rotten person 24/7. I had a bad childhood too, Damon. I mean, my father, who I've more or less patched things up with, he treated me and my siblings like slave labor on a ranch house in the boonies. Middle school, I was bullied, thrown into pencil machines, tripped up by kids my age, clocked over the skull with a flashlight, like on a bus ride. For what? Because I was autistic? Because I was the new kid in town? The run of the mill hazing of someone who was brought in midway through the school year? Heck, I was even fired you're from a bad boy because I basically broke the customer's always right code in spite of the fact I was basically doing what was logistically right. Taking a 3-year-old kid out of the cart so I can get the groceries into the cart. I mean, should I ask the mother if they could take their child out of the cart so I could get the groceries in? Yes. Was I thinking straight at the time? No, I wasn't. Was I being a pedophile then? No, I wasn't. I was just trying to get the kid out of the cart so I could do my damn job. And I got fired over it. And that was back in 2007. So yeah, even I've got skeletons in my damn closet. But I'm not that kind of person anymore. When my demons try to pull me under into the past I don't want to remember, I hear the darkness calling to remind me of who I was into the past I don't want to remember. I hear the darkness calling to remind me of who I was, but I put that person behind me. Now, I choose to be a destroyer of lies. A man who will destroy the lies. I see through your disguise, Damon. If you're ever in a con in North Carolina and you try any of that crap on me, I've already told you what your reward is. Fist to your fucking face. And don't even try to use your victim complex. It won't work on me. You can play the victim, but I'm done with it. And keep in mind, folks, these people in those towers in Dallas, many of them, they don't care about you. They fucking hate you. They see you as nothing more than money going in their pockets. They see you as nothing more than a means to an end. And to the cons that listen and believe these pieces of garbage, you're going to be going to the wayside pretty soon. Because unless you bring Vic back, your numbers are going to drop and drop and drop year after year after year. The only one of the big cons, in my opinion, that's going to fucking survive this is Matsuri. Or out in Houston. Because they're the only major con in the country that's actually willing to keep bringing in Vic year after year after year. Even after the crap he's been accused of. Because the con operator at least knows Vic would never do any of that shit. And plenty of smaller cons would be more than happy to bring Vic in. I mean, look at what it's doing for Stephanie. Look at what it's doing for Tiffany. Two women you out at Funimation because they weren't in your little sinner circle, Chris. Damon, Monica, Jamie, Brina, Kara, DC, Rager, Martin. There's no emotion. There is peace. Sorry. That's why I'm so passionate to defend Vic Mignogna. Because compared to many of the pigs that work at Funimation or Crunchyroll and Rooster Teeth, Vic's at least a saint. Vic's not no saint, but he's definitely far less of a sinner than these guys and gals. With the exceptions of Todd Abercorn, John Young Bosch, Chuck Huber, Jeremy Lee, Kylie Bear, and Karen Strassman, every one of the other members of the fun, and maybe Bryce Pappenbrook, Justin Cook, and the late Chris Ayers, God rest his soul. Many of the rest of this brood is nothing but a cabal of criminal creeps, a circle of sinners. I stand with Vic, now, then, and forever. If you like this video, leave a comment, smash the like, give a sub to my channel at Meds2128, follow Trent Michaels and subscribe to his channel at Trent Michaels, and I thank Trent for giving me something to fall back on and blow my own top. Mets2128 signing out. Goodbye and good effing night. Bang!